Well, I'm on a lunch break. I went and grabbed me some Arby's because I like tasty sandwiches. And I went by AutoZone because they had a tube in stock for a 15-inch rim, which is what I got. I found another tire in the barn that looks like it's in pretty good shape. The beads kind of got some to it, but actually I think that's extra flashing. I ain't worried about that. I was getting tubes anyways. This is that. Looks like it got flat and sat on that one spot for a while. This one looks in pretty good shape. So I'll swap rims in this thing. And this tube looks like it's been patched about 15 times. You know, patch, patch, patch. You know, there's another patch there. There's all over the place. And this valve stem had some iffiness to it. I couldn't tell if it was leaking there or not when I had it under the water. I got the valve core out of it. So I went and see if they had a new tube, and they did. For a right here, it says right here, 15 or 16-inch tire, which is what I got, made in China. It smells of Chinesium. The only problem is, look at that valve stem. Look at that. That's as long as my index finger. Look at that. That's insane. Why do you need it that big? So I'm going to try and put it in. We'll see how far out it sticks past the rim. I mean, here's the other one. The one in front. It doesn't stick up, but inch and a half, maybe. So I'll try and put it in there. If it's going to stick out way too far, well, then I'll just put the old one back in. I couldn't find any leaks on that thing. I put some air in it. I don't want to overpressurize the thing with it being out of the tire. Put some air in it, and in our shop sink right there, filled it full of water and tried seeing for bubbles, and I didn't see anything. So I'm hoping maybe it's just a valve core that was leaking on it. If I have to reuse that tube, but we'll find out. The other reason I went into Ozone is I drove this stud out. I don't know if you hear that buzz. That's this thing charging at 3 amps. Charging the battery. Yes, that's my mess of pink wiring. But I wanted to replace at least a few of these studs, because this one and this one right here, I don't know if you can see that. I've got some movement to it. There's not much, and you can still spin the nuts on and off. I was going to try and see if they had some studs, just to throw in there. Usually it's these splines on here. Focus. There you go. Usually it's just these splines that, you know, get wore out from, you know, wheel being off and on and all the time. So I walk in there, and the poor guy doesn't act like he's ever worked on a vehicle before. I showed him this stud, and he's like, okay, what's it on? I'm like, well, you're not going to find it in your computer. It's on an old farm wagon, and it's not going to be in that computer. Okay. So we walk in the back, and we start digging through. And I'm telling you, it's going to be, I told him, you know, it's going to be standard. It's not going to be metric. And he starts pulling out metric studs. And oh, this one, the thread looks close on this one. Like, looking at the bag, and it says it's an M12. I'm like, it's not metric. I guarantee you it's not metric. Like, oh, well, we'll see. Pulls them out, keeps pulling out. Pulls out one that's very close to this. The shoulder here, of course it's not going to focus. The shoulder here was a little shorter, but it was right overall length, had the right thread. But I didn't know if this diameter was the same. So I'm like, do you have a vernier caliper, something to measure the diameter here? I don't know if it's the same. We walk over to the aisle with brake calipers in it and pulls a caliper off of the shelf. And he's like, is this what you're talking about? No. It's a caliper, something to, oh, we don't have anything like that. So I left it there. I left the old new one there. I'll just drive these back in. And then, you get these guys at AutoZone who don't know anything, and you try to get parts for stuff like this, and the guys in there are useless because they just don't know anything. They don't know anything unless that computer tells them a part number. Used to be you could walk into like an auto parts store, like an old Napa or something like that, and the guy would know what you're talking about. You could tell him, here's a stud. I need this, and oh yeah, right in the back. We'll go get one, and then you got the right part right off the bat. But no, you gotta. If it doesn't have a VIN number, they can't look it up. And sorry, I know I'm ranting, and I used to work in an auto parts store. I used to work at an O'Reilly's. For 3 years, I used to work at an O'Reilly's. And my grandpa, on my dad's side, owned a Russ Nixon Auto Parts. And I was in there quite a bit, helping him. And in fact, I don't know if I've shown it on this channel, I've got an old 1947 South Bend lathe, metal lathe, in the garage at my parents' house. That lathe came out of the basement of their auto parts shop, and I don't know what they were doing with it, but it had wood shavings on it, so figure that one out. But I kind of grew up looking up parts like that because I had the tractors and stuff. I was looking parts up for them that way. So I was used to looking up old parts, but now these kids, if it doesn't have a VIN number on it, they don't know what to do. So I don't know. So I'm just gonna rant over. I'm gonna drive these studs back in, or this stud back in. The bolts, the nuts and stuff are kind of chewy, but I didn't feel like wasting more time trying to find a nut off the shelf because the kid can't look up a part number. So I'll get that. I found a block of wood that I can put right here to mount. Where'd my handle go? There's my handle. Put my handle here. Help people. I don't have another one to go here, and then I'd be blocking here, and then I'd be blocking my latch there. So, but I can mount this tire. I can put the tube in it. And I have a good tube and a good tire on this one because I think this is the only wheel end that kept going flat. And I hope it's just that valve core, which, if you've ever seen a valve stem core, that's a valve stem core. Like nothing to it. That is all that holds back the tire, that pressure in your tire. That's literally all it is. It's a little spring. Yes, I know my nail's dirty too. That's it. That's the entirety of what holds. And in trucks, it's the same thing, only it holds back 110 psi. So, food for thought, I guess. So I'll get back to work. I'll get my lunch eaten first. We'll put the tire back on. I guess I'll put the white on the inside. Nothing else has got white. I'll put that side out so that it matches at least. We do have white walls. We got white walls on this thing. Did you know that? We got white walls on this wagon. Check it out. White walls on one tire because that one didn't have it. But we put it on the inside so that it matches. So I'll get back to work. I'll get this done and I'll give you an update when I can.